When I started thinking about doing a sliding tray, I read a bunch of pages, watched a bunch of videos, and I settled on the far out ride sliding tray plan. Seemed like the simplest way, and they did a very good job of laying out the plan. After picking up the sheet of 5/8 Baltic birch ply and getting it cut, first thing to do was to sand all the surfaces. I used a cloth to brush off the remaining sawdust, and then a bottle of Gorilla Glue on the common surfaces, and then clamp everything down and let it dry for a good while. There was no clamping the end piece, so I just laid a old brake drum on top to give it some weight. Next up was drilling some holes, countersinking them, and adding some wood screws to add some structure to it. Next up was the staining and sealing. I used this Watco Danish oil for the stain. I believe I did 3 coats with sanding in between, and then I hit it with a sealant, polyurethane sealant, with a couple of coats to protect it. Initially, I cut some side pieces to bolt the sliders to that I was going to use L brackets to mount to the floor, and then I realized I could do something different. I could use this aluminum angle iron that has all the holes already in it, and turn them inward to save some space side to side. This turned out to be a really smart move later on when I decided to add a second tray. At this point it's going really well. The length is good for the bikes, but I realized that the tray is much wider than I really needed. I was going for a half and half, and I realized I can trim down the old tray and build a wider second tray that better accommodates a toolbox and bins. I'm fortunate enough to live close to several band builder shops, some of which hang on to scraps and give it away or sell it for cheap. So all this coin flooring I got for either $5 or free. One of the things many people do when they put bikes in is they just drop their seat posts down. I didn't have that option with the bed platform being where it was, so I just pull them out, and I have another inch or two of clearance, which works out really well. And while everything is still loose, I'm testing to see how much distance I've got from the back panel. I'm going to use the back doors for some hanging storage of some small items. One issue I had was with the road bike handlebars and the trail bike rear tire touching. To solve this and to be able to get the road bike back a little bit, I just added a 2x2 block to that fork mount, and that raised it up and made it so I could mount the road bike an inch or two back. Once I had the fork mounts attached, it's time to button everything down. I've got my drawer slides already bolted to the angle iron, so I'm adding 8 big fat screws and washers on each side. In the center, I've only got one piece of angle iron, so I only need 24 screws. So the rail mounts are mounted. Everything's in place. It all fits. Next plan is to do a test fit with the bikes in place so I can make sure I've got those fork mounts in the proper spot. So with that done, I can take the bikes out and I can start attaching the trays to the rails. And that shouldn't be too big of a pain in the ass. We will see, because I have to pull the rails out, the trays out and the rails out to get at the little window in the side of the drawer slide. Now these are 400-pound slides. I'm not worried about the slides failing, but it's time to test whether my attachment method is going to work. So I'm going to put all my weight on this thing. And it holds. The final test is a proper fit with both bikes and my toolbox and my cargo bins. I made this drawer specifically wide enough to accommodate the pack out, so I know I'm going to need it. Not bad. This means, as I expected, I can fit 4 of those bins. That'll be plenty of space. And I think what I'm going to do is put a handle on each of these so I can unlock it, pull it out, push it back in. Trying to grab it from these corners or by these handles, it's very awkward.